All right, hello everybody. Again, welcome. This is our Zoom 101 session. Please feel free to stop and ask any questions you may have. I will share my screen though, so that way you all can see the features that I'm talking about. So when you enter Zoom, you are going to use your Baltimore City email. And the reason being is because all of our students are using their Baltimore City emails to get into these Zoom links. So for a safety measure. If you have an outside visitor that is joining the class or a partner, what they can do is in the teacher settings or even in your settings, you may have access as well when you create your Zoom, is to allow others to join that are outside of the Baltimore City account. However, we are asking that everyone use their Baltimore City accounts when creating a meeting for us. Now, Miss Epps and Miss Lewis, as far as subbing goes, what's going to happen is, and I'm going to share my screen right now. Can you all see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. But what's going to happen is when you pick up us, and Miss Ashton, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you pick up a position to sub at our school, you'll receive an email with the teacher's information. The teachers will also receive an email stating that you will be their sub. They will ask, Miss Ashton will ask them to send you the lesson plans for the day, unless it's an emergency. So maybe, the teacher had to suddenly call out, and then you would have access to one of the emergency sub plans. But regardless, you will have access to the lesson plan, and you'll also have access to the Zoom link for that day, or Zoom links for that day. And let me introduce our wonderful principal. Principal Slayton is joining us. She's connecting to the audio. Hi, Miss Slayton.
Hi.
All right, so like I said, you will receive that information. If you have follow-up questions, you can definitely reach out to Ms. Ashton, and your community leader will also be added to that email with the teachers. So a community leader, think of like our champion for the teachers. So that way, they can also give you additional information regarding the grade level that you'll be working with that day, or grade levels that you'll be working with that day. So as far as Zoom goes, you would sign into the teacher's account. To your Zoom link, you would sign in using Google. And the reason you have to sign in using Google is because your Baltimore City account is actually converted to a Gmail, but you're going to sign in with your bcps.k12.md.us email. And then you'll add your password. So Carrie, we can work on with yours since you're an intern. We can talk about how to do that for you. But once you're logged in, you'll go ahead to the link. When you're in the link, you'll notice that you'll see participants on the side. If they are in the waiting room, you'll have to admit them in. All of our students and all of our guests are automatically placed in a waiting room. So when you're teaching, please make sure that you're paying attention to that, to let students in, when the time occurs. Now, when you are—
I'm sorry.
Yep.
I had a question. I put myself on non-video. How did I get on video?
Yes. So more than likely when you first set up your Zoom, and actually this is the case, when you aren't playing around with the settings, it automatically turns your camera off. So then when you come into the Zoom session, you would go to mic, make sure that's on. The red line means that you're muted, and then your camera button is right to the right of that. And so if I click that, it automatically starts me off, but when you click it again, it will turn on. If you're having a problem with your camera, there is a little arrow right above, and then you can see which camera options your computer has. Now, what we have worked on and learned is that if the camera option is not appearing, it may be that you need to restart your computer. So
Okay.
that is sometimes one of the issues, is that the camera isn't syncing with Zoom. So then you have to just go out, restart your computer, and usually that fixes the problem right away. Now, as far as the mute button goes, again, if that is a problem and you can't unmute yourself, there's a little arrow. You would click on that and you would look at the options. You're going to want to put the built-in microphone option and the built-in output option. And then you could test it to see if you can hear it on your end. Now, if a mic is an issue, what you have to remember is when you log into Zoom, it will ask you to join over your internet audio, and that is the option you want to click. Because if you don't click on that, we won't be able to hear you, and 9 times out of 10, you won't be able to hear us. So when you first join Zoom, it'll have that gray box that'll say join using your internet audio, and make sure you click on that. All right, any questions about that? No? Okay. So then
Wait,
to the
Ms.
right—
P?
Yes.
Maybe just so that we can explain, like Ms. Lewis said, that she had a problem with the audio, that sometimes it may be best to have headphones
Absolutely.
if they're having issues with it.
Absolutely. So if the you can't hear or people are saying they can't hear you and your mic is on and your volume is on, definitely headphones can help with that. And then if you need headphones, just let us know too, because we do have the option for you to borrow one of our devices. And I'm not sure if that's at every school, but here at Brems, we do have that option to support you. All right, and then to the right of that is participants, and that is what you see over here. You will see all of your students and anybody that's in the meeting in this participants item. When you hover over someone's name, you'll notice that I am host. Host means that you have all of the permissions Zoom gives you access to. Co-host is the option that allows another teacher in the room to have almost as many permissions as you do. And by that, I mean they'll have the ability to let students in. So if you have a paraeducator that day or a special education teacher comes in, you may want to give them the option as co-host, because that'll give them the ability to, like I said, add people into the room. It will also give them the ability to jump between the breakout rooms, which we'll talk about. But as far as your breakout rooms are concerned, only the host can create that option. So just remember that only the host can actually create breakout rooms. And then from there, you will also see the option, hold on, when you press more, for me, I can rename myself. You'll be able to rename students. You can chat individual students this way. You can ask them to unmute themselves if you are calling on them and they're not responding. Sometimes, you know, kids don't know where the mic button is maybe, or they just forgot. So you can ask them to unmute and on their end, it will pop up, host is asking you to unmute. And same with video, you can turn off their video. So if you see something concerning in the background, you could turn off their video or even ask to put them in the waiting room. You can make them host. So for subs, you know, you might want to have when the resource teacher comes in, you'll have them as hosts. That way they have all the permissions available on Zoom. And then as the host, you can withdraw co-host permissions. Okay. At the bottom, you'll notice that there are also some reactions. So I might say, how's this class going? And is it going good? Yes. Is it going bad? No. You know, you can just ask them to vote. And so the kids can give you a quick verbal, or like, how's the presentation? Are we going too fast? Do we need to slow down? And they can vote on that as well. If a student is having an issue finding the Zoom, or a parent is like reaching out, oh, I don't know the ID number, can you give that to me? There are two locations. You could do invite, and then the Baltimore City contacts would come up here and you'd be able to invite them. You can also, in the top left right here, you'll see the meeting information. It gives you the meeting ID number. And if there was a passcode, it would also say passcode. So you can give that and then copy the link. But that's just so, you know, logistical reasons, you know where those two places are. Now the chat feature, depending on what the teacher has as their options, chat may be disabled. So meaning that the only people that students are allowed to speak with are the hosts. So the teacher, and then maybe the paraeducator or resource teacher. And then, but as you can see, I don't have that feature on here right now, so I can message anybody and anybody can message anybody else. One thing you should be aware of is that with our Baltimore City accounts, sometimes if you put a hyperlink in the chat, only some students will have access to just clicking on it. However, if, hold on, let me go ahead and admit her in. However, if the, what should I say? However, if the chat does not allow students to click on the hyperlink, they can copy it and then paste it into the web browser. So that might be something if a teacher is like, or a student tells you, oh, I can't, you know, I can't click on the link. That may very well be the case depending on the device. So just be mindful of that if you are trying to have students access, you know, another website or another link. Hi, Gabby. Yep, Miss Lewis.
Yes, I have a question. You mentioned that the teacher can disable the chat feature. So does that mean they're the only one to remove the disability from the chat feature as well? We couldn't come in behind them, even though we're subbing that day, to restore it just for that day, or once it's removed by them, they have authority to come back and redo it? How does that work?
So they would have authority to do it. What they could do is add you as an alternative host. So
Okay.
if you're saying, you know, I want my students for the day to have access to the chat, then in the email between you and the teacher exchange, I would just ask that question, like, is
Okay.
chat disabled only
Okay.
for hosts? And if so, do you mind adding me as an alternative host so I can change that setting? Or can you please change that setting for us? And
Okay.
the reasons, oh, go ahead, Ms. Lee.
I was just gonna say, if you forget to do it in the email, you can ask the community leader as well. That
Okay.
morning.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And the reason, again, some teachers have the chat disabled is just because they want, you know, to build the norms within their classroom, and they don't want the side conversations to be going on just until everybody's ready, right? And prepared. So as you can see, Ms. Slayton has put in the chat, it's great seeing everybody. And then your community leaders are the champions for our teachers and will be off to help support you. They are the same as assistant principals, like we discussed. They're just grade level administrators. All right. All right, the next option you have is the share screen feature. So this will be important, subs, especially when you are using a PowerPoint. A lot of teachers may give you the option of a PowerPoint in their classroom to make it a little bit more engaging for students with the embedded videos, you know, just the different visuals to really help engage our students in this virtual platform. So when you're doing the share screen option, you would click on it. And then all of these options come up, the desktop, the whiteboard. And then if I had a window, just one specific window open, I could also click that. So when I click on it, I've already clicked on it. That's how we're sharing this screen. I did desktop view, which is why you can see everybody. However, if you just have the PowerPoint open, you'll have that option to click on that PowerPoint as your main share. Now, it's okay if you accidentally share the wrong thing, you can just go to the bottom, press stop share, and then, you know, select the correct share that you want. So no worries if that happens. The other feature that I love, though, is the whiteboard. So can you all see the whiteboard? So this feature, excuse me, allows me to write on it. It also allows students, if it's not disabled on the teacher's end for students too, it could also allow students to write on it as well. So you might put up a math problem here and have a student solve, write the answer on. Again, please be mindful that some of the devices do not allow students to annotate, even if the teacher has that option available to them. But that's just another tool that may be helpful for you while teaching, another engaging piece. And then we have polls. Polls are quick ways to survey students or to ask questions. So I could do a poll, and then I would add a question. It will take you to the Zoom page. Okay, and then I can type in my question. My poll might be our share for the morning, and our share might be what was the best part of your weekend, right? And I might give some options, sleeping, eating, spending time with family, and other. And you can add as many questions as you'd like. I would press save. And then I would come back to my screen, press on poll, and then I can launch my poll. When I launch my poll, it pops up on everybody else's end. So it should be on your computers right now. What you see is the share in progress. So I can see how much time I'm spending on this poll. And then I can also see how many people have already voted. It does not tell me who does not vote and who does vote, but it gives me a percentage of how many participants. So that, you know, it gauges, you can gauge like, okay, I have 90% of students already answered. We're going to go ahead and end the poll. And then I can choose whether I want to share the results with the class, or if I just want to relaunch the poll again, or if I just want to keep it to myself. So if I share the results on your end, you would see the options that everybody voted. And that could be a conversation piece again, like, oh, you know, if you said other, what was the best part of your weekend? So that is another feature, again, just to make sure we're engaging our students. You can record, but I would be mindful of that. In Baltimore City, we can record you as the teacher. We cannot have student faces or voices on a recording. So just be mindful of that. If you are trying to record part of your lesson, some teachers will take this opportunity to record their whole group lesson. That way they can provide it later for families who were not able to attend the live session. But just be mindful that if you want to record, we do have restrictions around that. And if you have follow-up questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. And that's due to Baltimore City's decision making. And then reactions. So some students can give you a clap, yay, or a thumbs up, and you can also do the same on your end. Now, the more is breakout rooms, like I said. So breakout rooms are, if you would think about small groups. This is a time when we put our students in small groups. You could also do breakout rooms though for a turn and talk, or you have various questions that you want this group of students to answer. Be mindful that when the students are in a breakout room, that cannot be recorded. So you are responsible for, just like if you were in the actual classroom, what goes on in the breakout room. So if you're in the breakout room, you can either choose automatically how many rooms, and then it just sorts everybody randomly, or I can manually enter my students, and I could also determine how many rooms I want. So if I have a class of 24, I might want 6 rooms. So that way 4 students are in each room, or I might want 4 rooms, and then that way 6 students are in each room. And if I create the breakout rooms, remember only the host can do this part. Even if you have a co-host, they cannot do this part. So I could rename the breakout rooms. I might do colors, or I might have the teacher explain to me what their rooms are normally called and who their groups are. I can delete a room if I want, and then I can assign. So when you assign, you can choose who's going to bring in which breakout room. And then when it says open all rooms, so hold on, I'm just going to pretend to assign us. Okay. Oh, so I only used 3, so I'm going to delete the room. Yes. Okay, so then when I open all rooms, what comes up on the student's end or on the participant's end is going to be to join such and such breakout room. The student has to click it. If they do not click it, they still stay in the main area. Now, as a co-host, like I said, you would still be assigned a breakout room, but as a co-host, the permissions will allow you, once in the room, to jump in between the rooms. So you may have a special educator that asks you to place them and X student in a breakout room. So that way that student can receive their services. Some special educators though may come in and then they will send an invite for their own Zoom link for that student to go join that meeting. So just be mindful that when you are subbing for us, that some of our students are receiving their services outside of your actual, your actual classroom, which is what they would typically do if we were in the building anyway. Okay, so any questions about breakout rooms?
I do.
Yep.
What
Yes.
what feature will we be accessing to get to the breakout rooms? We didn't really get to see it, what you were accessing on your end. Is it possible you can show us what that looks like?
Yes.
And can you
Absolutely.
also show us too what the polling looks like too? I'd like to visually see it if you don't mind.
Yes.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
I thought you guys could see it. Can you see this
Yeah.
breakout room sign?
Now I can see
Now
it.
you can.
Now I
Okay,
can
yeah.
see it.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. So you're welcome, not a problem. So basically what happens is it'll have the option
Mhm.
to allow you to create the rooms. And then I
Okay.
can rename the room. I might, do colors, the red group and the green group, and I can go in and change them, and the yellow group. Oh, I
Mhm.
should have did blue. That's my favorite. But then what'll happen is next to the person's name, you can see, you'll be able to check which room they go to. So if I can move them to another room if I want. Oh no, I meant she was supposed to be in the red room. So you can go ahead and do that. And then you can exchange them too. Like, okay, I want to flip Miss Slayton and Carrie between those rooms. So that's an option. Again, only the host can do this breakout room creation. Co-hosts can jump in between the rooms, but only the host can see and create the breakout rooms.
Miss P, can you start from the beginning to show them how to get to the breakout room?
Absolutely. So right at the bottom, it'll be a more option. I click breakout rooms. Hold on 1 second. I want to delete all the rooms. Delete room, delete room, delete room. Okay, let's try again. So right at the bottom, we'll go more breakout rooms. And right here is where you can see the assigned X amount of participants into the rooms. It will equally divide it for you. I could automatically do that, or I can manually do it. Automatically, it'll just, randomly put people in rooms. Manually, if I do it, I'll press create breakout room. I can adjust the number of rooms, like I was saying. So right now we only need 3 since there's 6. Create the breakout rooms. And then here we have the rename option. So the blue group, the yellow group, and the pink group. And then I can assign. So when I press assign, I will see every single student that is a participant, in addition to any teachers, etc., that are participants, and then I can move them accordingly into the room. So when I click on their name, I can then press assign. I can then click on their names and then press assign and then do that. If I want to move them, this is the part where we got to last time, I can move them to the other room. I can also exchange. So let's say, oh man, I messed up and Gabby and Nicole are supposed to be in the opposite rooms. I can also press that. Excuse me. And then I would press open all rooms when I'm ready. I could also add a room. When I press open all rooms, that is when on the participant side, they will see, please join this room. So like if I did it now, you should all see on your end, please join the breakout room. You would then click accept. Any student that does not join a breakout room will be still in the master session. And so what happens is that's the main screen right here. And what happens is you would want them to join the room still. So you would stay on until everybody joins their rooms. So if everybody would just go ahead and join your room, please. And then I'll bring you all back. Yep, go ahead and join your room. Yep, go ahead and join your room. Yep, and you should be able to see the join. Great, and now, like I said, I'm the only one in the room. This is the main session while everybody is in their breakout rooms. So then I can close all the rooms. Welcome back, guys. All right, and everybody should be joining us back. When you close the rooms, it will give a minute. That is a standard time, but again, in a teacher settings, I could change it to like 10 seconds, 15 seconds. You do have the ability to change that, but a minute gives everybody enough time to wrap up their final thoughts and then head on back. And yes, it will kick you out after the minute. So even if you wanted to get that one more thought in, no can do. So Ms. Epps will be joining us back in 22 seconds. But that is the breakout room features and the polling feature. I'm sorry, I thought you all could see that as well. But at the bottom, can you see the poll now? Yes, okay, great. So I can relaunch this poll and I can also edit it. So if I press edit, it would take me to the zoom.us page. I could then enter the title of my poll and then enter a question. So I might say, how are you this morning? Oh, sorry. That's going to be the question. The title might be feelings. I might say awesome. I might say okay. And I might give it the option of blah. And then I press save. Okay, so then when I go back to my poll option, can you see my poll option? I will choose, hold on, I'm going to press X. Go to poll. I am going to relaunch my poll. I am going to continue. And then it relaunched it. So on, again, the host end, you can see how many people have responded to the poll. You can see how long the poll has been activated. And then you can see the options. So once everybody votes, again, the poll will pop up on everybody's end once everybody votes. All right. And it just says we're waiting for 2 more, but I'm going to end the poll now. I can choose as the teacher to share the results. So I can share the results and say, okay, class, so it looked like, one person enjoyed sleeping and then somebody said other, and that might be a conversation starter. All right. When I go, I can stop sharing. When I go and add another poll, it will give me the option of which poll I want to pull up. Okay. So I'm pressing X, and then we have the closed captions. So closed captions I can assign if I'd like to. And then when I'm speaking, it typically is supposed to translate what I'm saying. Okay. All right. Are there any questions about Zoom that we may have? No? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. But yes, so I hope that was helpful. One of the best things about Zoom is that they do have tons of videos on their website. So if you go to zoom.us, any questions you have, you could just search for breakout room, poll, you know, basic control features. How do I share screen and do this? They do have a bunch of videos and a bunch of articles to explain how Zoom works. If you have follow-up questions, yep, Miss Lewis. Hold on, gotta ask you to unmute.
Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Great. Last week when I was subbing online, there was an issue where I tried to play a PowerPoint within the lesson, but was unsuccessful. Then I tried to pull up a YouTube video, the same one on my end, just on my end, but the children weren't able to hear it. Is there a reason why, or something I could have done, or things that maybe could have contributed? Was it because it wasn't a part of the lesson, or?
No, I'll show you right now. So if I share my screen and let's say I go to my desktop, let me get a Chrome open. I'm going to click new window. Can you all see Google?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So then I'm going to type in youtube.com. I might do, hold on, loading. I might do sight words. Let's say if I was in kindergarten, sight words. Oh, I'll pick on this one. Writings. All right. So if the volume is an issue, right? I'm going to play it real quick and you can tell me if you can hear.
Not that
Can you
easy,
hear?
but Grammarly can help. This sentence.
Could you guys hear that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So if volume is an issue though, you want to make sure your volume on your computer is as loud as it can go. But then B, you also want to make sure that the YouTube video's volume is as loud as it can go. Sometimes YouTube, it will default to have the mute over it, so then you can't hear it. And then
It's
you can press
grammatically
play.
correct.
And then everybody can hear the video. So just the two things are, one, make sure your computer volume is all the way up, and then two, make sure the YouTube video's volume is all the way up. What I usually do, and I see you, Carrie, what I usually do is I ask, if I'm ever presenting, I ask, can you hear this or can you see this? Or I try to. So just be mindful that if you are presenting a video, you just ask somebody like, hey, can somebody just unmute and let me know? And don't worry, you'll have tons of participation. Everybody will unmute themselves and say, oh yeah, I can hear you. Or I can't hear you at all. What did you say? But yeah.
Okay,
All right,
thank you.
Carrie, you're welcome.
I had a question about the classroom. I had the experience of, I think there were about 60 students in those 3 or 4 classes that I subbed for, and they each submitted their work, and some would resubmit. So I got tons and tons of, are we calling them emails when they are in the classroom or something else?
Yeah. So you got tons of posts? So
Posts.
depending on your settings for the Google Classroom feature, you
Mhm.
can receive every notification. You can also turn that off.
Okay, that's what I
Yeah.
need.
Yeah. So
And also-
I'll show you real quick, and then Carrie, I'll get to you. Give me 1 second. So if I share my screen, okay, give me 1 second. You all can still see yourselves. Sorry for all my tabs. Let me just open up a new one. Okay. So if I go to my Google Classrooms, hold on. Can you all see my classroom page?
Yeah.
Okay, I have to make sure that I'm in my Baltimore City account again. And then once I'm in here, I can click on, yes, so I can click on these 3 lines. At the very bottom, it says settings. I click on settings. I then see notifications. If this is on, I will see a notification for every time someone posts, someone mentions me in a comment, someone sends in private comments on their work, there's late submissions, you will receive everything. And there was a point when I was receiving literally everything. So I went in and I just clicked the options that I wanted. So as a teacher, you might want to see comments on your posts. That might be the only email notifications you want. Or you might want to see, you know, when students are submitting in late work. Or, you know, if a scheduled post published or failed, right? Or I might not want to see all of those notifications, so I would just turn them off. Since I'm not in the classroom, I just keep them all off. But as a substitute, you might want to, you know, determine which settings you would prefer. Is
Okay,
that helpful with that?
absolutely, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Carrie, what's going on?
I just wanted to say about the sharing audio
Yes.
with Zoom. There's an option you have to make sure you're clicking before you share, like share screen. You have to make sure that share computer audio is also marked off, because I had that trouble before.
Absolutely.
So
Thank you.
I wanted
And-
to add that too, because that's a big
you.
issue, because it defaults with it being muted, which is it's not smart.
I know. So yes, so thank you for sharing that. And again, if you have extra audio questions, you can always come to this little arrow and press audio settings. And there are a few more options here, as well as some advanced options that you can play around with. So thank you, Carrie, for that. All right, everybody, are there any other questions? No? Well, thank you so much for joining us again here at the Bel Air Edison School Brahms campus. If you have any follow-up questions while you're subbing, please reach out to Ms. Ashton, your community leader, or the teacher who is sending you their lesson plans. And I'm also here as a resource too. So we hope that this was helpful for you. This video will also be saved and then uploaded via YouTube. So we will send you that link too if you just want to go through and watch, and get some more knowledge again. But Zoom.us has great resources again. We're here to help. So we appreciate you guys choosing our school to sub in. We appreciate all of your support. And anything else, Ms. Ashton?
No, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for everyone for attending. Also, just to reiterate what Ms. P said, is that when you do pick up a substitute position, in most cases, I am the one who will reach out to you via email or telephone, text message, so I can be your first point of contact. Our goal is to get information to you. So if we do know in advance that we have someone who is going to be out, we kind of post the position as soon as possible. And our goal is to have the information to you at least 2 days prior to the day of subbing. So if we do have that information, at minimum, you will get it 2 days prior to the day that you will sub. And again, you do have my contact number, and anyone that picks up, we will definitely reach out to you, or I will definitely reach out to you as soon as I know. And thank you. Thank you for attending.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. I will see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Okay, bye.